All right, we are back. This is. All right. I guess, yeah, I should mute myself, right? So I don't hear myself talking to myself. Hold on, let me just change a few things here in the description. Although I could do that later, but I will choose to do it now. But, yeah, so this is day 2. We're going over Cyclomancy, which are, if you do not know, is a wonderful, wonderful book for developing one's occult powers and prowesses. And it was introduced to me by Brother Panic. Shout out to Brother Panic. And we are amazing. But seriously, we are amazing. Okay, so day 2, my battery is dying on my camera, so I had to kind of rush through it. But we're gonna get into more because I have a charged battery this time. We're gonna get into it a little bit more. And again, it's Cyclomancy. If you're not familiar with the book, you can. There's a link in the description where you can purchase this wonderful book. And and also Frank Rudolph Young, he's got some other great books as well. So I suggest checking them out. He has a book on yoga for men. He's got other kind of Cyclomancy, similar sort of books like Psychastra and Secret Mental Powers. And there's another one, I forget what it's called, but he has a few that are in the same vein of Cyclomancy. So so if you buy it from me, whoop, there goes that, folks. Man, you try to hang things up. Best laid plans. You know what? That's kind of cool, so I'm just going to leave it like that. We're going to get up during the live and fix that. I've already fixed it 7 times. It's enough already. And I sort of was like, yo, you don't need a thing. Like, it's not, you're talking about occult science. Like, you don't need a background. But, I still persisted. It kept falling down. And I was like, yo, it might fall down during the live. And this is where we are. But I'm glad it fell down now than later. So, anywho, Cyclomancy. So, Psychomancy is a book by Frank Rudolph Young. And you can join a Cyclomancy challenge. I kind of had started working on these techniques, and then I sort of, got distracted by life. This is where I understand a huge thing about being an occultist, and that's how the further you go, the further you have to at least psychologically remove yourself from standard operating procedure as a human being, right? And the Bobby Hemmits and Brother Panics have, stressed this point about leaving your humanity behind and removing yourself from humanity. And this is probably, as I have gone on my occult path over the past few years, this has been the biggest obstacle, is just falling back into a human frame of mind, falling back into human patterns and way of operating in the world, way of behaving, way of looking at reality. Like, oh my God, they're doing this, right? The whole they're doing this and conspiracy theories, even though I don't buy into conspiracy theories too much these days, but it's one of those things where every once in a while it gets me. I get dragged back in, like in the fucking Godfather 3. Every time I'm out, I get pulled back in, and that's how I feel about my human side, my lower self, my beast self, my animal self. It just pulls me back in. And then essentially earlier this week, I had just a moment watching a Brother Panic video where I didn't even know, like, just certain delusions about my occult work were like shattered. Like, I need to get back on it. I'm a tech person. Like, I got a whole media thing going on. Like, I'm streaming this using my fucking DSLR. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing OBS shit. Like, I could live in that world for a while. I'm getting back into music. I'm doing video editing, videography. But I realized that's very easy for me to do, right? That's just easy things that I always will want to do and appreciate. But what's not as easy from the sense that it's newer is doing occult work. And that's the more important work because it's only going to inform anything else I do. If I want to make great music, well, doing my occult work will only bring it to a grander level, whether directly, as in like I do some sort of magical working, so my music sounds even more amazing, or just an indirect byproduct of the work, because I'm more in touch with myself, I'm more in touch with my heart, more in control of my mind. So Cyclomancy is a book for that end, to become more in touch specifically with one's mind and by extension the brain, right? If the brain is the physical structure that kind of has it's like the ego part of our reality, right? The brain has certain areas, sometimes called silent areas, and there's a Kundalini book I'm reading that talks about this, and their point in there is that it aligns with different chakras, right? I don't think it really matters what camp you're in. Like, ooh, is it this? Is it that? Just we all know there's parts of our brain. We've heard it like, oh, people only use 10% of their brain, right? We've heard that shit so much, right? Well, we have this extra 90%. How do we fucking activate it? Well, one of the ways we activate it is to do exercises like the exercises in Cyclomancy. And it's mind control in the best possible way, because it's you are in control of your mind, not someone else is in control of your mind, which is how we normally think of mind control. It's you are the controller of your mind, of your brain, of your reality, right? That's the longer term goal, is that you're in control of your reality. But the shorter term goal is that you're in control of your mind. So let's talk about Cyclomancy. And again, Frank Rudolph Young. You can find the PDF. If you can't find the PDF, I have a Frank Rudolph book collection for sale. The PDFs, let me just clarify with that, of the PDFs on Gumroad, that's in the description of this live. So we talked about exercise 1, which is the one with the pool of water. You have a pool of water. You put your hand in it, right? You have cold water. You put, it doesn't matter which hand. I don't think it matters. It doesn't say here that it matters. Oh, you got to do it with your left hand. But let's say you take your left hand and it's cool water. You put it in and you start sending rockets, as these psychic rockets. Yeah, psychic rockets. Or psychic power commands. That's how he puts it. From, your prefrontal cortex to the back of your mind, right? Down your spinal column into your hand, right? You imagine that this whole thing's processing. You're sending the thought, yeah, bitch, I know this is cold. Left hand, I know this is cold water, but you don't say all that, but you're telling your left hand, this is warm, this is warm, this is warm, right? And the next exercise is, as one can imagine, the opposite. You take your right hand, put your right hand in, you shake it all about, you do the hokey pokey, you tell it it's cold, and you do this. Then the third one, you do 2 hands at once. Is that the third one? No. Okay, warm, then cool. Okay, the third exercise is when you have 2 bowls of water. You have a cold bowl, let's say in front of your left hand, and a warm bowl of water, let's say in front of your right hand. And then you put the left hand in the cold, right hand in the warm, and through your psychic power commands, you say, hey, left hand, that water is warm now. And they say, hey, right hand, that water is cold now, right? And you do it simultaneously, right? It's obviously a progression with this sort of thing, because you got to train yourself to just do one hand and both hands, right? It's like, I'm teaching myself piano. You don't start with 2 hands. You got to learn how to do it with one hand, learn with the other one, then you put them together, right? So that's the third exercise. And there's a whole bunch of exercises in the book. I have this binder, by the way. I'm going to start selling these. It's essentially a binder of occult practices I've gathered from numerous other books, Psychomancy being one of them. And I haven't printed all the Psychomancy ones in here, as I just did the first section of Psychomancy. And it's very helpful just to get right down to business. Because I noticed that the more obstacles for me to get down to business, and in this sense I'm talking about occult work, getting down to business, man, the less likely I am going to do it, so I just have made it very simple for myself. I love putting shit in binders, a little fun fact about me. And so, I put different exercises, occult exercises from probably about 4 or 5 different books. Like I mentioned in the last video, from, where is it? From this book, Scrying for Beginners, which I got to get back into it. Because it's funny, like, with this occult path, like, I heard Brother Panic made a very good point, and I would say this is very true, because it's helped me in my own way he was talking about teaching very generally, right? He doesn't claim to be a kemetic or a kabbalist, right? He's an occult teacher, broadly speaking. He will talk about those things. He will explore those things. He will give insights in those areas, but it's not necessary that it's like, this is the way, right? Kabbalah, this is it. This is it, folks. It's none of that shit. And, he's giving out booklets, as has Bobby Hemmitt. And that sort of style has helped me into making sure that I keep this about me on my path, right? I even was listening to a video today where he was mentioning about, I'm a tool on your path. And that is just the best way of putting it, right? Because the problem with teachers, and it's not necessarily teachers and gurus, right? It's just how people deal with the energy of a teacher and guru, right? Because once they find something and makes them feel good, or makes them, it's just insightful or something, they want to just be like, yo, yes, are you going on tour? They want to be like a groupie for the guru or teacher or whatever, right? Rather than taking it as, oh, that's some great information that I will take on my path, right? That is helpful to me on my path, but I'm not going to stay here. I don't need to stay in this place with this teacher, right? I could just take the teachings. A saying I always say to myself is, the book is lighter than the teacher, right? And what's lighter than a book? Nothing, because you got it all up here. It's all internalized. It's all, playing out through your subconscious into your conscious reality, and your life is being created accordingly. And so, I would say this: if you were a new to occultism and doing occult work, it's another exercise in knowing yourself, right? I would say me going through lists of occult books and then be like, oh, that looks like an interesting book. That's taught me about myself. Just certain titles, certain words, certain themes of books, right? And again, talking about occult type books, says something about me, says something about my personality, my consciousness, my life, my experiences, right? Because not everybody is going to necessarily hear about Scrying for Beginners by Donald Tyson and be like, ooh, I want to read that book, right? Maybe there's another scrying book they're interested in, or maybe they're not interested in scrying at all. It's about just another layer of uncovering what speaks to you, what resonates with you. Go explore. Maybe you go explore and you're like, what, Scrying for Beginners is not for me. It's not the wave that I'm seeking to pursue at this juncture. And that is fine. And then you pick up another book, you go down a different path, but you keep on walking, right? You don't stay at just one house. You don't just camp out at Scrying for Beginners your whole fucking life, right? You gotta do some new shit, and I think that's a huge part of the occult path. It's literally the highest level of experimentation, I would say. The highest level of experimentation one can do is by pursuing occult study and experiments. Because there's something I've been thinking about a lot recently, or something I've been pontificating about, is the irony of this place, the irony of having a physical body experience, right? Let's just start with the physical body, right? I know this has nothing to do with Cyclomancy, but we're in the wave, people. We're in the flow. We're getting into it, okay? So, hold on. I'm gonna get into these rants. Get thirsty. So, where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Oh boy. We were talking about waves and flows and alchemy. Just gonna throw that out there. It's like that's something I would talk about. Fuck, I really lost it, man. I shouldn't drink that water. That fucked me up. Well, anyways, let's just get back to Psychomancy. So, I don't even know how we got where we were, people. We know I got where we were. So, you got to do things to channel and control your mind, right? And Psychomancy is a powerful tool for doing that. And he has some other books. I know I'm repeating myself. I'm just trying to get on pace since I can't remember my delicious rant that I was about to go on. It was so delicious. It was so delicious. I felt it. I was like, ooh, yeah. Get into this rant, you know what I'm saying? Just, ooh. Like sometimes you hit those rant pockets. It's like that good puss. When you get in that good puss, you're like, oh. That's how I feel about like rants, especially like an occult spiritual rant about like, ooh, yeah. Just slide it right in. Ooh, baby. Okay. So, back to Cyclomancy. So, you, the magician, me as the magician, need to strengthen and raise up, for like a better phrase in this moment, our occult energy. And obviously meditation is a huge tool in that. Just sit down and shut the fuck up, right? Just sit down and shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, okay? And the more we practice the things, right? There's something that I heard someone say about Cyclomancy, probably Brother Panic, but also I feel like he mentions it in Cyclomancy. It's the idea of the effort, right? There could be the thought that you do this and you're like, it's not working. Why is it working? Why? I don't have powers. What's wrong with me? Oh my God. Right? We just, do all that shit. It's just too much. No, just stop. Just stop yourself. Right? But realistically, the effort in doing these things is what drives it to work, right? I know many people have done Cyclomancy things and they've been successful, right? And also, I am no different than a lot of people out there, right? These aren't special people. These are just people. It's going from, it's like the idea of being special. I think we can make case there are some special people out there who have done some amazing things, right? Jimi Hendrix, one of my favorite people of all time. Love his music. Love it. There's a whole bunch of other people we could say that we could call special. But putting those people aside, and I would even say they're not that special, right? Putting those people aside, I feel like most people are within a certain range. And what I mean by this is, yes, everyone's unique in their own way, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's at a certain range where most people, if they smoke cannabis, are going to get high, right? There's probably only a certain population where if they consume cannabis, that they are not going to have any effects. It's a pretty reliable system. You put some cannabis in a thing and you inhale it, and after 1 or 2 or 3 inhales, you start feeling something. Now, how it manifests in their body and their consciousness and all that sort of stuff, Well, that could be vastly different from person to person. Someone could be hyper running around, another person could be falling asleep on the couch. So, in this sort of thing, you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. That's, again, what I said in yesterday's episode is true for today. Belief is the simplest form of magic. Just belief. Just believing in yourself. That's why I like believing in yourself. Fucking from that Arthur song. Believe in yourself. I forget the rest of the song. It doesn't matter. The point is, belief is how the shit gets done. You know, I'm reading a Demons of Magic book. If I don't believe I can summon demons, if I don't believe any of the work I'm doing, think it's going to work? You think, I mean, even if it does work, you think a demon or an angel wants to help you if you don't believe in what you're doing? It's like if you call someone and you don't believe they're going to answer, and then they answer, and you're like, oh, you actually answered? Right? Just a weird energy. Right? If you call someone, you believe that they are going to call, or else why are you calling them? And the same way with fucking magic and occult shit. You do it because you believe it's going to work. It doesn't mean you don't have to fine tune it. Doesn't mean you just try other things and experiments, right? So you can get better results, because you might get no results, right? But you have a belief going in that's like, yo, this shit, we got it. You know, not in a cocky way, but just in a belief in yourself. That's like, there have been so many magicians and occultists in the history of time who've done things with occult and magical workings. So why am I any different? I am not different. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a mind and a heart, and I can use my imagination, which, you know, that's some core skills. Like I have this thing written down about just the core occult skills to make sure I'm working on, right? Meditation, imagination, astral travel, and chakra and kundalini, or energy work, right? So, in addition to dream work, but astral projection is the priority. So, we need to develop our skills in a way where, yeah, we can raise this energy. I'm sorry, I keep scratching myself. I don't know what's going on. See it on camera, I just want to itch my head, scratch my face, rub my face. Interesting. What does that say about me, folks? I've been fasting. I'm going to say it's that. So, let's look at some other exercise, folks. Let's look at some other exercises. Okay. Okay, so in exercise 4, it takes it up to the next level where it's like, rather than sort of a built up, you know, you commanding yourself, it's like, as soon as you put it in the water, you instantly are saying, this is hot, this is cold, right? Using both hands. Okay, what else we got here? Okay, so the main first ones are these water ones. And then it gets into some other ones. And these are ones that, the good things about these other exercises is that they're easy to do like throughout the day. You know, you can kind of do a little bit more intermittently. So, how to develop your timing with psychic power control. Several times a day, I don't know how I'm doing that voice. Several times a day, try to estimate the exact time. Don't think back and analyze your activities since the last time you glanced at the clock and try to figure out the exact time. But just force your mind to fathom the exact time right now. Don't just guess either. Fix your psychic power inside the general field of the time and call it out. I'm going to go 10:17. 10:42. Okay. You know, just do that shit. I had no idea. I mean, I vaguely knew it was after 9:30-ish, but I couldn't be sure in my logical mind that was later than that. So, you know, just kind of throw it out there. And you'll be surprised how quickly this one, at least with me, you know, is doing this for a few days. You know what I'm saying? You get scary good. After repeating this exercise a number of times for several days, you will start your subconscious mind working along the lines and secretly keeping time for you within. When you ask yourself that question thereafter, your psychic power center will drive a rocket into your subconscious mind and ignite the dark, invisible clock inside of it, and will flash the exact time to you. So these exercises are, by and large, so that we can, again, have better control over our mind and, more importantly, our subconscious mind. Because our subconscious mind is there to bring us whatever we want. It's to serve us. It's to, but it's based on our program. It'll bring you a broke-ass car and a fucking terrible relationship, if that's how your mind is programmed, or bring you the fucking most banging, just awesome wife or husband, and the most amazing car and house and land and all that sort of shit. And it's not even about that, but it's getting your mind to work along principles that work for you, work along programming is a better way, that work for you. And just even in just the small time of me doing occult work the past few years, it's been very beneficial. I have this wonderful office space where I'm making this video right now. I have a great apartment. I have just so many wonderful things. And it's probably even the most important thing is just having a better relationship with my own heart. That's the most important thing. That's the occult work. That's where it starts. It all starts with inside. So just doing occult work has helped change my relationship with my own heart, with my own reality. And then once you start changing that, everything else lines up. If you connect and you fully experience, not just, kind of understand, like, yes, I am abundance, right? But it's like you experience and this, then abundance has no choice but to be surrounded by you. Love has no choice to be surrounded, all around you, because you are aligned with those energies. So, but to do that to a higher degree, you need to have a mind that is able to, in this Kundalini book, I was talking about like the preparation for raising your Kundalini, right? And from this standpoint is like, sometimes like partial awakenings, like, we have, everyone's could, more or less be a genius in different areas of their life, but it's like a partial Kundalini awakening. And because it's partial, it's like the idea that you can't sustain holding your Kundalini at the bottom of or to your mind, right? From your, the bottom of your spine and raising up to, your mind. It's until you're prepared enough, you're not able to hold the charge. And it's usually akin to if a house is only wired to receive like residential electricity, and then like you hooked it up to like a major transformer for a city, it'd fucking blow that house's electrical system like out. It would be a mess. You know what I'm saying? It would not work because the house is not wired to receive all this extra voltage, right? And so in a similar way, I feel like the occult's power and prowess, it's getting our minds ready to do more powerful, energetic tasks, right? Contacting demons, contacting angels, astral travel. So we got to get the voltage up. And Cyclomancy is about getting the voltage up, getting better control. Not only, getting the voltage up, sustaining this voltage, but also being able to, direct it and control it in ways that benefit you. So you can do the timing one. And this one I do periodically. It's probably the most consistent one I've done, which is the second exercise. And if you are reading at home with Cyclomancy, I'm on page 17. If you have this copy that I have. So, which you can get from me and other Frank Rudolph books in the description, where I'm selling the PDFs of them on Gumroad. There's a link in the description. Check it out if you need copies of Cyclomancy. So, second exercise is pick up a book, not this one, check the time, and then read a page or two comprehensively. Estimate how long it took you to read and check your estimate with your watch. Again, don't try to figure out how long it must have taken you to read the pages. That would be resorting to your conscious reasoning mind. Depend only on your psychic power control of your subconscious mind. This is a great one because you could do this anywhere, where you could go into a place, right? Like you even like set a timer on your watch, right? Let's say you're in the fucking, what's what I do a lot, drive-through. You're getting Wendy's or some shit, or you're just somewhere where it's not that long of an amount of time, but it's not like 2 seconds, right? And like, let's say you start your watch timer and you turn it away so you can't look at it. And then when it finishes, maybe you stop it without looking. And you're like, how long was that? 3 minutes, 10 minutes, right? Because honestly, just the more you can, it's not even guess, the more you can just align with your subconscious goddess mind, the more it just kind of comes out. I mean, how many times have probably you in your life, I know this happened to me a bunch, just said some shit just as a joke, and then that was the actual shit, right? That's actually what happened. That's what manifested. That's what the person was talking about. Someone mentions that later. And you just kind of came off the cuff with it, like, oh yeah, asparagus. And then someone comes in like, oh yeah. So I was eating asparagus earlier. And you're like, what the fuck? Right? Because you just came out of it. Like you weren't thinking about like, when this person comes in, I'm going to guess that they are going to say asparagus because they always like asparagus, right? You don't rationalize it like that. It just sort of comes out. And this is training us to be more aligned with our subconscious mind on our behalf, right? Because our subconscious mind is there for our behalf. Excuse me. Actually, I want to reference this book real quick. This is a good book. It's not too occulty, but he kind of like keeps it sort of occulty. You know, Hidden Power by James K. Van Fleet. It's a good book because it kind of has some good stuff in there. And, you know, it's just, this is why you got to cross-reference. You got to cross-reference these things because sometimes it's not the one book you read or the one video. It's maybe hearing something from a few different perspectives, and then you piece something together on your own from, you know, you do a synthesis of it. I'm sorry, I am itchy today. I don't know what's going on. I'm blaming the fast, folks. I'm blaming the fast. Fasting makes you itchy. No, I think that is actually a side effect because it's like the more your body detoxes, the more parasites, something. Anyways, who the fuck knows? But yeah, just pick up a book or just anonymously, that's not the quite word, but without checking, just start a timer and then try to but then use your psychic power command. Use your psychic power command to determine a time of how long it took you. Okay, here's a good point. In summary, musicians, dancers, athletes, housewives, doctors, nurses, businessmen, salesmen, speakers, those in numerable callings or leisure time activities, including ordinary conversation, have to constantly use their time sense. In most such activities, it's impossible to glance at a watch while in action. In others, it is either inconvenient to do so or is insulting to the other person. And yet, without an exact sense of timing in those situations, you are doomed to waste considerable time, to fail totally, or lose friends. Ooh, man. It's like, yo, how'd you lose all your friends? Psh, my timing sucked. To be able to guess, quote unquote, the time accurately enough without recourse to a timepiece astonishes and fascinates others. It enormously increases your skill and effectiveness in any project you undertake. Okay. How to intensify your power of volition or your willpower with psychic power control. This is actually also a very important part of this. Because, especially if you are a magician, not doing fucking bunny rabbit tricks, bitch. I'm talking about an actual magician with a K. Phil Cooper style, you know what I'm saying? Anyways. The more you want to go further in your occult self, and this is my view, my perspective on this, it requires more willpower, you know, because first of all, in lots of ways, you're going against what society is generally set up for. Not set up for, but it's like you don't hear people at the coffee shop like, oh yeah, so I was summoning some demons last night. Maybe some coffee shops, but generally these are not the things and topics you hear around. Maybe because people who are occultists are more secretive and private about their workings, but still you get the point that these are not the common things that are happening in society. So that creates a further issue with the magician, is because it can distance yourself from standard human behavior, right? You become the weirdo wizard or whatever. It needs to be a weirdo wizard. But the point is, the willpower of doing these things is important, because like anything else, no one's going to do your magical workings for you. If they are, cut that shit out or whatever. I don't fucking care. I really don't. Listen, if that works for you, then let that work for you. I would just say, just do your own magical workings, folks. Anyways, the willpower of magician, the magician's will, is important. It's what makes it all happen. Just like a belief, the will of a magician, super important. And this is one of the reasons why I'm working on a 7-day fast. This is day 2, approaching the end of day 2. It started 1 p.m. yesterday, right? So we're approaching 36 hours. It'll be 36 hours at 1 a.m. So one of the reasons why I do it is like I'm challenging my willpower. The most I've done a fast for is 36 hours, right? That's my longest fast. So we're approaching my longest fast time. And it's not to say that it's a failure if I don't get to 7 days, but at this point I feel very comfortable that I can get to 7 days. I feel wonderful about it. And I believe I can. Yeah, I believe I can. That's an interesting phrase. So, I'm putting myself a challenge, just like anything else. It's an experiment, right? Cult work, fasting, you could say even fasting is occult work, because do we need to eat? I mean, eating's great, but if you change your beliefs in a certain way, you can just be breathing air. I know it seems silly to people, but what else could it be? What else could it be if it's not a change of beliefs that people who, and there's been experiments when people who have like yogis, like, be like, yo, I haven't ate or drank anything for fucking 30 years. And they'll like watch him like a hawk for like months. And they're like, that nigga didn't eat anything. He really did not eat or drink anything. We watched him. We observed him. We were monitoring him. Shit. I don't know what their conclusion is, but my conclusion is belief! Fucking belief! That's all it is. So, we need to have better willpower over our minds. I always use an example. If you in your mind are like, I'm going to do 3 push-ups, and then you don't do it, what are you training yourself to do, right? You're not training yourself in the way you want. If you want to do more and more push-ups and have a better-looking chest, then you need to train your willpower. And that's a huge part of this book, is about training your willpower, training your subconscious mind, and all that fun stuff. So I will leave you with that. I've talked long enough. We don't need to go in too long on some of these. But yeah, Cyclomancy, check it out. Work on the exercises. There's a whole bunch. And yeah, just get back in control of this. Get back in control of that. All right. Peace.